In with Max and Brent, unlocking the minds of the industry's top real estate professionals. And now, here are your hosts, Max Rabin and Brent Jackson.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Keyed In Podcast. I'm Max Rabin.
And I am Brent Jackson.
So Brent, one of our favorites today, we've got an agent from Miami today. You know, you and I both love South Florida. You have property down there. I follow the Miami market on Redfin all the time, dreaming of buying real estate in Miami. So I'm really happy to talk to our guest today. This is Jonathan Garcia. Jonathan Garcia is with One Sotheby's International Realty in Miami, Florida. Jonathan is a top agent there. He has total sales exceeding 100 million. He's been in the business since 2013, and we're just very excited to talk to him. Jonathan, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Max and Brent. And Brent is a colleague that I've known now for a couple of years. So I'm honored to be here with you guys and share some hopefully valuable information about Miami.
No, we're glad to have you on here. You know, we've done a few transactions together, just referrals up and down the East Coast. Yeah. As Max alluded to earlier, I bought down in South Beach early on during the crash, and we got something. It was like 50 cents on the dollar. And it's the glitz and glamour of Miami. And ever since, we bought a few places here and there, but it's near and dear to my heart for sure.
Jonathan, you were born in Venezuela, correct?
Yes, indeed.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about like growing up and how you got to Miami and how you got in the business?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's quite the story. So yeah, I was born in Venezuela, and I always knew that I wanted to learn English. So when I had the opportunity to right out of high school, my parents was fortunate enough that they would send me here for a 10-month program and to study English, just study English. And I was living with an American family, so I learned English real fast. Like they dropped me off, they drove me to St. Petersburg, bye. And then I remember like the father trying to, what do you want for dinner? I'm like, yes, I want to eat. Yes, whatever you have.
So who were you staying with at that point?
I would go to an English school. So
were you staying with someone in the St. Petersburg?
Family. So it's
family.
Full American family. And they would drive me there. And every morning would pick me up at 4:00, and all day I was studying English. So that's the good news, because I learned whatever 2 words I learned every day is what I used when I got home. So that was a really fun 10 months. So I decided I really wanted to go to college. So I always wanted to stay here. I never wanted to go back home, even though I loved my country and, of course, my people. But I was fortunate enough that my parents supported me to stay. So I did the first 2 years of college in St. Petersburg. In 2001, I transferred to FIU, Florida International University, for a school of business, where I got my finance degree. And so I moved to Miami because at the time, my parents had a condo here. So it's like, well, finish college in Miami because here we're paying for housing, so you don't have to. Plus, FIU is a great school. So I moved here just by default, not knowing like what was going to be my career, my life, in like in Miami. And I went to school for finance. I actually got my master's in finance after. And I spent about 6 years in private banking, doing asset management, and was great, all of that, but as soon as I turned 30, I was like, I cannot do this anymore. Like, this is boring. This is not me. I needed a change. And then friends of mine who are still very successful in the business, they were like, you should be a real estate agent. I'm like, oh, what now? Sales, me, realtor? No, I crunch numbers. Like, that's what I do. I love them. Just get the license. So I got the license still in the bank. And I remember waiting for the year to end so I could get my bonus, because I was, if you leave before, you don't get it. So anyways, I held on until January of 2013, and that's when I put my notice. And through one of these friends, I was hired by the Jills, which is how I started in real estate. I worked with them for about 8 months, and then it's been 10 years.
So tell us about the Jills team that you started with. Where are they based out of? Because we were talking before we started today that obviously Miami is a huge market and there are lots of niche locations. So tell us about the Jills. Like, what was the specialty there?
So the Jills, for a long time, they've been the number one selling team in the country. So they last year alone, they sold, I think it's over $1 billion of real estate here in Miami. They joined forces. Their team grew, but at the time, one of these friends that got me into real estate, that pushed me to real estate, was a client of one of the Jills. So it's Jill Hertzberg and Jill Eber. And I was working under the team of Jill Hertzberg within the Jills. And I have to tell you, I learned so much. Imagine, I'm coming from a desk job, right? Doing asset management. What the hell do I know about real estate and transactions? And I had no idea what I was doing. I mean, I was so lucky that I was immediately part of a team, that I had a mentor there. And immediately from the beginning, I was able to kind of understand, because I think that's what happens in the industry. A lot of people just get the license. They have no idea what they're doing.
So what were you doing? Because a lot of times people do get their license. They come out as an agent, buyer agent, listing agent.
Right.
Some go straight into like administrative assistant, marketing, operations guy. So what were you doing right out of the gate?
I was lucky because the reason they brought me in is because I spoke Spanish, and they wanted to expand their brand in Brickell downtown, which is where I live. This is where, that's where a banking industry and all of that is where I was. So they put me with, coincidentally, his name is Jonathan as well, more seasoned than me, to work with him to expand the brand here. So I would work with him. He taught me pretty much everything from the beginning. We would do from rentals to listings, but I would work more with him. And then believe it or not, clients, because I guess they trusted me, even though they knew I was new, I was getting listings just through clients in my first year. But I think it helped because obviously I was supported by such a strong team. I wasn't like on my own.
So you're getting clients early on. Like,
Yeah.
How are you getting clients? Is it just word of mouth, people you know in your sphere, or is it you're doing some marketing outside of just the norm? Correct.
In the beginning, yeah, it was basically letting them know that I'm now in real estate. And then, of course, that I was part of this huge team, right? That I had support. Not that I was kind of going with the flow type of thing. And a lot of these clients were also clients that I had met in my banking industry, right? When I was in the banking job. So they knew my character, right? Even though they knew I was new to real estate, but they knew my character. They knew that I know a little bit more.
That's a good sphere to be coming out of too. These are people that obviously have money and can do real estate transactions. And if they know your character and they know your abilities, and there's already an extreme level of confidence there. That's great.
That I can tell you guys, that certainly helped me so much from the beginning. I think, a lot of us agents come from very, very different industries. For me, coming from the asset management side, the banking, having that finance background, definitely helped me a lot from the beginning. To this day, of course, it's a topic of conversation that I get to have with many clients. It helps.
So you were with the Jills, obviously this very prestigious, high-selling team. And how long were you with them again?
Not long, probably about 8 months. And then Sotheby's, I had a listing through a friend client. So that manager, there was a Sotheby's manager for the Fort Lauderdale office at the time. He's no longer with us, but he came straight to me because he ended up buying that listing from me. And from the moment that we met, we started transacting. He's like, "You're going to be Sotheby's by the time we close." I'm like, "I'm good, I'm fine." But he persisted. And I signed with Sotheby's by the time that we closed on that apartment. And I've been with Sotheby's since then. And it's been the best thing that I've ever done for my real estate career, was to kind of go on myself, but also under an amazing brand, right? That Sotheby's is. And it's been almost 10 years with them, almost.
And you are on your own, or do you have your own team now? Or tell us about that.
For the longest time, I was on my own. And then I was until 2019, just by coincidence. The manager of my office, there was this agent, Elena Blonser, who was looking to bring on a seasoned agent to grow. She has her own very small team. So I joined her team. That was 2019. She's I mean, this past year, she's the number 4 in our company. I ended up in 47 in our company this year. And so I do love the whole having a team, right? Having people that support you, that we talk about what's happening. What are you seeing in your markets? What am I seeing in this market? Well, let's do the goals together, right? What are team goals together, or what is your goal personally, right? So that has helped. And it's been the past 3, since 2019. And I have my own assistant, and she has her own assistant, and we have another agent.
Mm-hmm. We were just testing our sound equipment before the podcast, and I asked you about what you had for breakfast, and you were telling me that you have all of your meals pre-done for the week. So we were going to ask you about like how you structure your day. It sounds like you're pretty like in tune with trying to have the same kind of thing going on every day, so you're always ready in the same way, and you're not worrying about those kinds of things. So tell us about how you structure your day and how you get the regimen going.
Absolutely. I've learned, imagine, again, it goes back to coming from a corporate job, right? Where, I had to make huge changes when I changed to real estate, because we never know how our afternoons are going. Showings, clients want to see something, the listing showing, this and that, the dinners and all of that, right? So my working out was not going to be compromised. So I had to switch to a morning workout. But that took a whole year to make that habit. Waking up at 5:30, sitting that, like, you can do this, But it was important for me. So now I'm a robot. I was telling you, Max, I'm a robot when it comes to the week. Like, I eat same thing every single day. I have lunch delivery every morning for my lunch. If I don't have a lunch, that's what I'll be having in my office. And at night, I always eat the same thing, pretty much. So when I go out to eat, I actually enjoy it because I'm eating something different. But my routine is get up every day at 5:20. You go to the gym at 6, come home, shower, and I have to be in my office by 8:15 because I role play with some people 8:30, and then I do all my calls in the morning, and then I put all my appointments in the afternoon as much as I can.
I have 2 follow-up questions for that little spill there.
Yeah.
What are you eating like the same every day? I'm trying to think, like, what could I eat a bologna sandwich every day?
No, hold on. Let's just first, Jonathan, I don't know if you know, Brent gets up at 3:30 in the morning, so he's got you way beat.
No, I get up at 4:30. 4:30. But yeah, I'm out the door by 5.
Moving at 4. No.
Well, I've got to drive to the gym. I got to be there. There's
intense.
There's a group of us. There's like 10 guys. We're there when they open up at 5:30. I rush back, put out the papers. I'm now known as the paper guy because I'm the only one that brings a paper for the gym.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I get up at 4:30.
But yeah, what's Jonathan Garcia, the machine, eating to make sure that you're always in tune?
It's okay. So when I get home, you have the same like loaded protein shake when you come from the gym, right? So it's bananas, a protein powder, all that stuff. But then I have already, I cook for the week, brown rice and ground turkey and vegetables, all that together. And that's my second breakfast around 10 o'clock.
Oh, that's your breakfast.
Second
breakfast.
Because that shake is huge when I get home. So,
I used to do this. I used to live this life when I was younger. I thought I was a bodybuilder. That's just hilarious, I think, for my audience to think about that. But I was always like, it was like lean chicken, lean turkey, brown rice. And now that I'm living with my girlfriend and 2 kids, it's all over the place. And I miss it. I missed having that like by the clock meal thing.
You know what it is? It's like, for me, it's the less I have to think about it, the easier for me. So I wear the same shirts during the night for work. It's almost like a uniform. Same thing goes with the meals. I don't want to have to think about it. That's why I joined CrossFit about like a year and a half ago. Just want to show up, tell me what to do, and I'm good. I'll do it and I go.
So my other question to your day is, you're role playing at 8:15 in the morning. Like, can you tell us like who you're role playing with, someone on your team, and then what exactly? A buyer, a seller, cocktail party hour?
Right. So I do I follow the Mike Ferry system, coaching system. So I have I have a group of agents. It's about 10 agents in the country, and we'll role play different conversations with clients. We handle objections. We do that kind of things. So I'm better prepared to, when I actually get on the phone and talk to my clients, know what to ask and how to find, how to have the best questions, so I can have the best information, so I can help them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you were saying that on your team you have your own assistant.
Yes.
And so does your assistant handle scheduling all your appointments and your CRM, and how do you manage everything with your assistant? What's your assistant's role?
So I have a bit of an issue trying to let go of control, but I'm working on that, right? Micromanage. I don't micromanage, but she's been with me now for a year. Before her, I did a little virtual assistant help, and then it went from that to a half part-time, and then now full-time assistant. So she's now almost a year with me, and slowly she does manage like what's all the appointments, keep obviously our schedule, right? When can we do this? Well, the morning is gone, things like that. It's a process. She still helps me a lot. She handles obviously all the transaction process for each transaction that we have, follows up with everyone for the most part. But I'm still doing things that I need to let go and have her do.
So following up with everyone, it's a question we ask every agent.
Yeah.
Do you have a CRM that you're using on a regular basis, whether you or your admin?
Yeah. So we have, we use Vulcan CRM system, and we have different folders. So we put clients in different, when to follow up, when obviously if there's transactions happening, these are the most important people that we need to complete the processes. So we have, whenever we get a contract, whether it's a listing executed or a buyer's client contract executed, we have a process. So obviously timeline, and she has it, and she follows step by step deadlines. We set deadlines to everybody. We put things on the calendar. Everything has to be on the calendar. Everything. So
that's a good rule.
Yeah.
So in terms of the Miami real estate market, location wise, what areas do you feel like you cover the most? What's your niche in terms of that?
Absolutely. So I live in Brickell, right? Downtown Brickell. And my office is also here. So naturally, I know, you ask me any building here, I know it. I know exactly everything about here. So naturally, about 50% of my production comes from here. But then, which is mostly condos. But we also cover Miami Beach. I know Miami Beach very well, in Coconut Grove as well. So the thing about Miami is, because everybody wants to be on the east side, right? And then if it's single family homes, there's only certain neighborhoods that are, until you start going farther south to suburbs, right? And then there's the condo market, which is huge right here in downtown. And now it's Edgewater, which is the next upcoming neighborhood. I don't know if you guys are familiar with these neighborhoods, a little more north than downtown Miami. But I would say my niche is mostly condos. We're condo experts, especially the ultra high-end condos.
So there's a lot to dive in there. I'm just thinking, like my mind is spinning. You mentioned Edgewater, which is similar to Wynwood, correct? It's like the neighboring.
Well, no, Wynwood is completely different. So Edgewater is right on the coast, on the bay.
Right.
Okay, so it's east of US 1 between 36th Street and 15th Street. And then Wynwood is more in the 20th, but much more west. Now, Wynwood it's a great story, because it used to be a bunch of warehouses and they converted it into galleries, art galleries. That's how it started, and being very artsy and all of that. And now, because it had been missing the residential component, now developers have rushed to build apartment towers, condo towers, and now it's happening. You have now people living in Wynwood, but it's completely different than Edgewater. Edgewater is more of a luxury high-rise condos on the water. It's in the process. It's going through it's still a lot of land to develop, but it's a great neighborhood because you're still almost close to everything, but yet you are right there on the water and a bit more quiet.
So, yeah, I kind of when I'm looking online on Zillow and trying to understand these different neighborhoods, and mostly focused on Miami Beach and thinking about, what it costs to purchase a single family home in Miami Beach versus a condo. And I'm trying to figure out all these different condos. And then I did notice the Edgewater neighborhood, because in the price ranges there, there's still single family homes in Edgewater in the under 2 million range that are on like sort of decent lots. Am I right?
In Edgewater, there used to be single family home. Now they're all gone. They
Okay.
have sold out, or you have low rises, or very, very old.
hmm
But people that want to live in single family homes, they no longer go there because there is almost non-existent there.
Wow. Okay.
Plus, all these developers have been just building and building and building. So it's like, who wants to be in a single family home if you're like one, and then everything around you is high rises, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's mostly condo now.
So people buying second homes or second homes or rental properties, investment properties, typically where are they driving towards? Is it they're going to South Beach, or they want to be back mainland on Miami Beach or Miami all the way up?
It's a great question, especially they just released. I was actually part of that research with the Wealth X. They were doing this huge study of the ultra high net worth, and Miami is the second city with the most ultra high net worth individuals that have second homes plus. And a lot of the people that, even if you're not ultra high net worth, the investment properties they have here, you have to know where to advise them to buy, because you have to understand their expectations, correct? Miami Beach, like you were saying, you're right. There was a time where everything happened in Miami Beach because there was really no Miami then. Brickell was almost non-existent. Downtown was a bunch of low rises, super old building. Edgewater, none. So where did people put the money? In South Beach. But ever since in the past, I would say 6 years or more, where Miami has become more built, then even the local residents, there has been a huge outflow of people that used to live in Miami Beach and now live in Miami. Why? Well, if you're going to pay X amount of money for a rent in this Art Deco older building, you have to park on the street, and you can pay the same thing across the bridge, but you have a full service building, spa, gym, your own parking spot, everything is new. So there was an outflow, right? So when it comes to second home investing, I advise my clients to put the money where there's more stability in the market. Now South Beach tends to be it's still transitional. People that come here for the summer, the European that come here 6 months and rents a place and then to make money because they work as bartender or whatever, and then they leave. So there is no that stability anymore in South Beach when it comes to just a regular rental, right? So when clients ask me, where should I buy an investment property that will make the money, let's say, to cover itself, right, for their expenses, and it will be a great asset to hold, I would say Brickell, because we have the most demand. It's the highest density of the Southeast. People just love what they have created here, which is live, work, and play in the same place. Literally, you can do that here. So Brickell is definitely one of those places. In terms of single family homes, if you can afford Coconut Grove for sure. It's always been in a stable market. I mean, Brent, you know the Miami market well. Coconut Grove, Coral Gables, those are stable, very stable markets in Miami that families there will always be demand for those.
What about some of the islands? I know that there's not that many homes on the island, whether it's Star Island or one of the other islands. Can you tell us anything about those homes?
Yeah. So the Venetian Islands was the Star Island, and it's more upper level of them. The Venetian Islands have seen New Yorkers. They love Miami Beach. They all do. They all want to be in Miami Beach, and then the rest of the people want to be in the Miami side. But New Yorkers have driven the prices on like Venetian Islands. Anything on the water has been through the roof. Even places like Normandy Isles, which are a bit more north, those places, like, nobody went all the way up there, but now you're seeing the prices there go crazy because Miami Beach itself has become so expensive that people, if you want waterfront, you have to go more north.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Normandy Isles because yet again, me surfing Zillow at 3 in the morning, look, it's less expensive than further south in Miami Beach, but obviously, like, it's manifest destiny, right? They want
Yeah,
that waterfront property.
that's right. I mean, it's people naturally, everybody wants to be on the water, right? Or
Yeah,
close to it.
yeah. Um, so obviously, in the last few years here during the pandemic, we've seen meteoric rise in home values, obviously driven a lot by low interest rates. And
Yeah.
South Florida was one of like the hottest, super hot markets. I mean, just crazy, right?
Crazy. Continues to be,
Yeah.
Max.
So that's the question is
Yeah.
it's still just increasing. You're still seeing this just amazing demand down there.
Look, again, you just said it, 2022 was an unprecedented years with the number of transactions. I mean, here people were throwing contracts over the fence of homes, like no contingencies, over asking, like just sign the contract. That it literally was happening. Our sales have dropped about 45% compared to last year. But anything compared to last year, it's almost like, okay, this is a normal market. Last year was not a normal market, correct? And the whole market has changed a bit, but we still have Max. We have people moving here still a lot. I mean, we get people in our listings. Oh, we are from California, and we just decided to actually make the move. Or then we have the people that were renting for the past 2 years to kind of test what it's like to live in Miami. Because it's one thing you come here for vacation, but to live. And now it's like, we're staying. We need to buy now. So when it comes to the demand, our inventory has increased, but if you price something, it's crazy. Whether it's a condo or a home, if you price it properly, you are going to get at least 2 offers or 3 offers within a week.
Mm-hmm.
Over asking. We're still seeing over asking prices. We just lost out on a home 2 weeks ago. We sent it cash, 20 grand over. Nope, didn't get it.
We're still seeing plenty of that here too.
Yeah.
Just obviously depends on the type of listing, but there's still plenty of multiple offer activity all over DC.
Absolutely.
And it's our numbers similar. We were having a conversation last week with our guest, and our top agents are seeing a similar kind of drop off in the sales. It's like 30 to 40% for most agents.
And the volume in units.
Mm-hmm.
Ironically, I got this morning a pulled a Wall Street Journal article, I don't know if you saw it already, but it's headed Miami housing market cools, but it's still the hottest around.
Yeah.
And it goes in there that, the reasons being, as you just alluded to, it's the warmer weather, looser business regulations. You see a lot of Silicon Valley and California people moving down there as far as the Northeast as well. And then no state income tax or lack of state income tax. So it's driving people in droves down to Florida. And it's stated, volume and units are down, but the prices are actually up a little over 5%. And year over year, it's the hottest or the strongest market in any U.S. city at almost 16%. So I mean, it's like people are there.
Yeah, but let's not also forget work from home and how that's changed everything. People can literally live anywhere and work
anywhere.
Miami is it's an amazing metropolitan city with every amenity you could imagine for a metropolitan city. You've got sports, you've got culture, you've got incredible food, you've got the beach, it's got it all. So,
and Max, in one of the key things I like to point out, and you said it, culture. Miami, like you guys know, when Miami used to only be South Beach, correct? The party scene, the Hooters, whatever, all that stuff. That's what used to be, though. But now Miami has grown in the past 15 years so much in the arts, culinary, hospitality. I mean, brands were not here and are now here. They want to be in Miami. And I think it has to do a lot with we've been getting for the past 5-6 years, a lot of Americans moving to Miami. Nothing like we've seen in the past 3, of course. But I do believe that the Americans moving to Miami more have made this city more cultural in terms of we need more stuff here culturally, right? We need more Broadway shows. Now they're working on that. We don't have as many, but they bring them. And then, the art scene has exploded, which is one of the key culture aspects that has made Miami actually what it is today as well. So the culture has been a huge part in why people want to be here.
I think looking deeper into the numbers as well, I pulled another article that, the new listings coming on in Miami-Dade, it's 10% for the homes, and across the board with condos, it's flat. So the inventory it's shrinking. The volume and the units are sold are shrinking as well. And whatever's going on in DC, you see that similar on the outskirts of DC. But if you look at DC proper, as Max just alluded to, 30% down in volume, 30% down in units here and there. But in DC proper, there's a 22% increase in inventory. So it's like people are leaving inner city USA to go to these rural areas, except for down in Miami. It's like they're staying in Miami.
They're staying in Miami. And that's what has created also an inventory issue here, because people have second homes here that before they would sell it, and we would have this kind of a normal balance on the inventory. Now nobody wants to sell. So it creates an issue. We have a shortage in 3-bedrooms condos. Don't get me started on the homes, because in Miami, like I was saying earlier, the way that the land is built, there's only so many single family homes. So if you want to live closer to Miami, and then it becomes the suburbs, the West, and people don't want to go there. People want to stay closer, So we have a inventory issue, and it will continue as long as people continue to move to Miami.
So you being a great agent, obviously you are able to talk about all of the positive aspects and the great things that are going on in Miami and Miami Beach. But as someone new coming to the market there, who's very excited about purchasing something in Florida, just offhand, what would be something that they don't know about the real estate market there that might be something you could warn them about, that you can, give value back to your customers that way?
Absolutely. Because I always tell my clients, especially as you can imagine, we get a lot of people moving here that have no idea where they're standing in Miami, but they just want to be here, right? So I always ask these questions to my clients for me to understand is, tell me about your lifestyle. Tell me what's important for you every day. Like, what is it that you do that makes you happy every day, that you want to see yourself around? That is your everyday lifestyle, pretty much, because that's going to tell me where we would be ideal for you to live.
So all right, then I'll tell you right now. Okay. Yeah. So I like to play a lot of tennis. I know tennis is ubiquitous in South Florida. You can hit a tennis court just by turning your head, right? You're looking at one.
We have a lot.
So love to play tennis. Want to be close to the beach. I guess I don't need to be right on the beach. I know being closer to the beach is more expensive and it can be more congested. Obviously, there's a lot of tourists and everything. I love things like you were talking about, Broadway shows. I love theater. Love going to sporting events. I would probably rather live in a single family home, but I know these condos have great amenities. What would be a couple locations for someone like me who's looking for something like that? And I don't want to spend more than, say, $1.5 million. Like $1.5 million might be my threshold.
I already have 3 buildings for you that have tennis courts in Brickell. Right, perfect. I'll be in Brickell.
Okay, Brickell is you love the Brickell is like it for you.
It's the happening place. It's super vibrant. You really have everything here. But if you want a single family home, I can get you a townhouse in Coconut Grove, and you're gonna have everything that you just said. You're gonna be close to a tennis court, close to the water, walking distance to a restaurant. When are you moving?
Heading down now. Heading down to come look. Right. And that's gonna help me do my late night searches too. I can start focusing on these things.
Yeah, exactly. You can have it all here, literally.
I know.
So what are some of the challenges you see as a buyer agent? People coming down looking for a luxury condo or a home, they're going to be there for 48 hours or whatnot. Like, what are some of the challenges you see as an agent for buyers coming in?
Right. So the buyers, I truthfully only work with buyers that are referred to me through clients or colleagues. I don't really work with buyers that, let's say, pick up from
a Zillow lead.
Zillow or something like that, unless they call me obviously directly from my listing, which has happened a lot. But so even like somebody has referred me someone and have 48 hours. Well, again, the challenges is because there's so much to see in Miami, right? You have from Miami Beach, I mean, to Coral Gables. It's just in all different neighborhoods right now. So again, I always go for the questions what's important for them, because it's completely different lifestyle if you're in Coconut Grove and if you're in Miami Beach, right? And also, I have to know the expectations of these clients. For instance, like one of the things that I mean, luckily, I have earned the knowledge to understand different cultures. Correct? In Miami, you'll get somebody from Russia, Brazil, a French person, like all of these, and these are different cultures. And the way if they don't understand Miami or how things are, okay, yes, you have $2 million to spend, but tell me your expectation about this $2 million, because $2 million in your country is very different $2 million in Miami. So all of this, because there could be a lot of frustration if you don't understand that, if you don't have those conversations, because you're taking them to these places and they probably feel like, well, I thought my $2 million were going to get me a lot more. So you have to understand all these things when you work, especially buyers in Miami.
Are those buyers, is it they're buying something in Miami, or it's they're looking in Miami, but the $2 million Russian buyer might also be looking in New York or Washington, D.C.?
Yeah. No, you typically, honestly, these people that are here, they are going to buy something here. They
Okay.
want to have a piece of real estate in Miami. Absolutely. Depending on their profile, Russians tend to be more on the beach. So Sunny Isles, Bal Harbor, that's where they want to be. They like the glitz, the sparkles, yeah.
I got it.
Yeah, that's Americans tend to be more like subtle,
Miami's the only market, and correct me if I'm wrong, that I've seen prices go up depending on which culture is coming into the beach, right? It could be like February prices are going up. It was down, it was $1 million in the fall. Now we're going to put it up to 1,000,001 because the Russians are coming in or whatnot. Is that true?
100%.
Wow.
And I'll tell you more. Before COVID, Miami, as you guys know, was an up and down market. I mean, we went as low as probably the lowest in 2008 crash than any city. I mean, that's when I bought my condo. I didn't know I was doing the right thing, but yeah. So why? Because Miami, before the past 6-8 years specifically, has always depending on foreign money. So if the US dollar is weak and the euro is strong and everyone else, guess what? For them, it's so much cheaper to buy here. So there would be a flood of money. That's what happened between 13 and about 16 of in the last decade. So much money. I mean, everywhere. You just money everywhere. And then the whole the foreign economy changed towards 18, 19. I mean, you could have found great deals in multi-million-dollar properties, because all of a sudden, I have to sell my $5 million condo. I have to sell my $3 million condo because I need that money back in Brazil. And, so then you have this imbalance in the system. It's like, how does that property trade is so low? And then you have these issues. So that was then, though. Now, because so much wealth, American wealth, have come to Miami, we have more stable Miami market than ever before, because we have real foundation now. It's not speculative. It's not depending on, well, if I'm making money in my own currency in my country. It's none of that. We still have that, but it's not the predominant scenario of Miami anymore, which is great.
So we're talking with Jonathan Garcia at One Sotheby's International Realty in Miami. He's joining us from his office there. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the listing side. We're talking about like buyers and how you've got people coming in and how you deal with all these different buyers. But on the listing side, obviously it's extremely competitive market in Miami with tons of realtors, all kinds of different personalities. How do you differentiate yourself? How do you compete? Tell us.
Yes, it's a great question. We do have a lot of active licenses, but when it comes to really understanding our market, right? and basically making sure that your client understands that you actually know what you're doing. You're already above many agents, and with all the respect with all my fellow agents in town, but we have a lot of new people here that have no idea what they're doing. I was one of them once, but right now I think it's my market knowledge. Again, I'm from finance, so I crunch numbers like crazy. So I think that helps me a lot when it comes to pricing, because I don't BS the seller. I don't, it's a lot of agents that they would price something high, or they would go with the seller's suggestive price just to get the listings. And then the listing, it's a future expired listing is what I tell them, right? So I basically come in with all my geeky spreadsheets and supporting documents and facts about the pricing. And the second most important thing is what we do for our seller clients, the exposure that we get them.
Question on that. Max and I both do spreadsheets as well for different neighborhoods and listings. Do you have are you manually inputting all your numbers into the spreadsheet, whether it's a building or a block of homes?
Yep. So every Monday morning, my assistant does all my numbers for the week. So I follow markets bi-weekly, because the month, it's already too late. I need to see the trend. So I follow how many listings came in this week, how many went under contract the past week, right? And then I see there was a time where obviously the pending last year was so high and the new listings were so low. So you can tell how fast the market was moving. But the moment I saw that flipped and it continued for about 4 to 6 weeks, I was able to say, this market is changing, right? This is no longer that market. And then, of course, gradually you'll see the sales dropping. And then the number of listings were more than the numbers of homes going under contract. And if you do that by let's say by neighborhoods, you get a real pulse of where things are going. So you can be ahead of the market and not chasing the market. No one wants to change the market.
Yeah, we have in our core neighborhoods in DC, it's honestly, we're talking about low inventory. I mean, it's pretty low inventory. You can pretty much just take a quick look at the MLS and see everything happening in real time, because it's, I mean, very few transactions right now. But I know you guys have some, mega buildings there, and so you're surrounded by several large buildings in certain locations. So it is a lot more to keep track of in terms of inventory and coming and going.
Correct. It could be a little more challenging, because especially in areas like, let's say in Brickell, where you have all kinds of buildings, right? You have the more luxurious buildings, the more average buildings, and all of that. But in the big picture, you can take a good pulse of the market just by following these weekly statistics.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps me. What kind of statistics do you guys do?
What statistics do we do?
Yeah, like in your spreadsheets, do you do it weekly, or do you input the numbers yourself? Or
so there's two. So like for us, I have a couple of different buildings and blocks that we work in. It's our it's kind of like our farming area. So I update that. Usually it's once a month, because there's, like Max just alluded to, there's not that many transactions that's going on. So I look at it once a month, and then we have a statistician on our team who we've interviewed before. Our team being the firm, Fred Kindred, great guy, knows numbers frontwards and backwards. So every week he's sending it out to the entire firm, all the activity, new pendings, new actives, new listings, all that jazz. And then it's up to the agent to kind of digest all the information and then report that back to whatever consumer you're talking to, whether it's a buyer or a seller.
For me, if I have a listing appointment, or if we're getting ready to write on something, especially if it's a condo, I drill down on the most recent data as best I can. And like, again, very few transactions. I've got a potential listing coming up for a building in Navy Yard. And, the buildings in that particular location are not that old. So anyone who's trying to sell right now it's a little tight, as you can imagine, because they just bought recently. Yeah. And I just try to make the most realistic sense out of dollar per square foot. I'm a really big dollar per square foot person. Yeah. And so I do all that stuff by hand too. Like I go to the listing data. There's lots of mismatched data in the MLS here in terms of square footages. So I try to really put eyeballs on it and really understand it before I start talking about it.
Absolutely. And you guys tell me how you manage this, but I know your market is very competitive as well. The prices, I mean, DC, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember reading DC was one or the only city whose prices didn't really fall in 2008. Was that right? Or was someone correct in the crash? Or was the least depreciation was DC metro area?
So Max might have a different spin, but I think if you're talking about DC proper as close to the White House,
Right.
that's probably accurate. But then when you start to spread that out, some people say DC and it's outside the Beltway, but even
Correct.
inside the Beltway in parts of Virginia and Maryland, especially outside the Beltway, some of those homes devalued almost 50%.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
But they still think they're in DC, quote unquote.
Correct.
From that point in the market, it was definitely a much better time to buy in DC if you were in the market in 2009, 2010. There's no question if you bought then, you were buying at a low point in the market. And we're a very insulated market here because of the federal government, legal jobs. The job market here is extremely robust. It's highly educated. And that's a big market driver. But there were lots of neighborhoods with promise, up and coming locations, locations where they were developing smaller condos, new condos, home flips. Those kinds of locations, even within the city, definitely took a dip at that point. But they've all recovered extremely well.
Right.
And that's a very short amount of time when you think about it for the recovery.
Absolutely. Miami went through the same. So the recovery was very fast. But to this day, right now, one of our challenges, speaking with, when dealing with sellers, is because there is that news, right, that came in Wall Street Journal. So they read that, and then they think that, well, my house is now worth 20% more. I'm like, it doesn't work like that. So it's a challenge because going back to the whole competition, I'm sitting here telling you the truth, and this is what your home is worth based on the market. Now, at the end of the day, not you, not me, we don't set the price. The market sets the price, correct? But we have a lot of listings right now, Max, that they are completely overpriced and they're just sitting there. They're just sitting there, and that's a huge portion of our inventory.
Yeah.
So people say, well, but I see a lot of homes for sale, but a big chunk of those are overpriced listings that are not worth what they're asking. Buyers just don't go and see them. They're sitting there 6 months and expired.
You mentioned earlier, and I've seen just because I drive through there's a lot of cranes. There's a lot of development going on. In DC, we have a couple different sites we can go to, like Urban Turf being one. How do you keep up with all the new buildings, the new trends, everything that's going on in Miami?
Absolutely. So here, obviously, as you said, we've always had a huge pre-construction market in Miami because it's been a developing city for many years, right? What I found for me that works for me is I'm in touch with all of these agents that sell these projects because they move them. So they move from this, from that. You already sold it. So they move them like Lego pieces. And they switch brokerage like they change their underwear. It's like very quick. So, but these are the people that know information that is not even public because they're meeting with the developers. Their brokers that's their market needs. So when it comes to pre-construction, I'm like, I have few people that I always call. I've done business with. So I'm like, what's going on? What's a new project? What's going on that side? Do you know anything about it? Because right now all of these projects are popping everywhere. So the good news is we have a very strong pre-development division in Sotheby's that we have a few projects of our own, but also it's basically calling and when it comes to, for instance, like I have clients that say, well, I want to build a home. Well, where do I go? Well, how much can you afford? And then we go from there, right? Because I know of Normandy Isles, nobody was looking at Normandy Isles before. And guess what? Now everybody's like, not everybody, but if you can't afford Miami Beach, you're moving to Normandy Isles and you want to.
I think we better get to Normandy Isles quick.
You better.
Do
you have any go-to buildings that are in development now? It's like everybody coming down. Like sometimes we as agents, it's like they're looking at Navy Yard, Max just alluded to, or it could be somewhere else. Like we're driving people to this project. We know the developer, we know the architect, we know the interior designer. Like we need to get you in here.
Yes. So again, it comes to where they want to be and in the price point. But for instance, in Coconut Grove, we have this incredible new project coming up. It's in Grove Isle, and that would be one of them. It's called Vita, a beautiful low rise on the water. It's absolutely stunning.
It's called a Vita.
Vita, yeah, Vita. And then in Brickell, we have two fantastic projects coming. 1428 Brickell Avenue is going to be one of the most beautiful buildings I've seen in Brickell. And then behind it is the San Regis Brickell is coming up as well, which we are selling. So
what's the price per square foot on the St. Regis?
2,000.
2,000 a foot.
Starting.
Yeah. Waterview, we're 10,000 a foot.
Yeah. And then these other great projects, in Edgewater, Miami Beach. So it all depends where you want to be, but each area has an amazing project coming up for sure.
I mean, I could talk to Jonathan all day, I think, about Miami real estate. We could just keep going and I could start just bouncing ideas off of him, but we're at the end of our show. So
man, it didn't feel like it.
Right?
We just started.
That's the thing about Miami real estate. I mean, you could sit and talk about it all day, every day. It's just it's a great market and a great place to be.
Well, I need to come down there. I haven't been down actually, it's been a couple of years since I've been down to Miami Beach, but I need to come down and meet you in person and
absolutely
get to know some stuff, man.
Absolutely. And if you can make it down here in the summer, I know a lot of people are like, wow, the humidity is so hot. But I mean, I like it. But in the summer, it's a great time to come to Miami because it's less people here. Now, we're becoming less seasonal, meaning a lot of people that used to just pack up and leave literally this time of the year, first week of May, now they're staying full time here because now this is their home, right? So, but a lot of people leave. So you actually can get reservations in nice restaurants if you want.
You can drive around, get somewhere.
Drive around. You can literally park on Washington and Collins and find parking in the summer. And you have sun until like 9 p.m. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate your time, Jonathan. And this has been fantastic stuff. We love talking to our agents in other markets too. And like I said, just really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And Brent has some rapid fire questions for you.
All right.
5 easy questions, or they should be. So you're driving down the road. What is it? A1A. This song pops on the radio. You crank it up and sing as loud as you can.
What's the song?
What song is it?
The happy song. The what's his name? Pharrell Williams.
Okay. Same concept. You're scrolling through the TV on a Friday night. This comes on the channel, and you're just going to stop and finish the movie. Doesn't matter if it's at the beginning, middle, or almost at the end. You're going to finish this movie because it's the best one ever.
Oh man, I don't watch a lot of TV.
We can scrap that one then.
But probably would be like something has to do with war and like or terrorism calls or FBI, some shit like that. Yeah,
espionage stuff.
I'll leave it on. Yeah.
Sounds like my business partner. He's hooked us on this show called Snapped. It's weird. That's a whole nother episode. So you finished work for the day, long day, closed a big deal. What are you going to go do for fun in Miami?
I'm going to go upstairs in my apartment, grab a blanket, change in my beach clothes, grab a bottle of wine or champagne, and I'm going to head down to Collins and 4th, Ocean Drive and 4th. So you just sit there for about 2 hours, whatever the sun is out.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that on the show. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, basketball or real estate, all points in between. There's a lot of distractions in South Beach.
Yeah. Yeah. You can do anything here, whatever you want. Whatever,
right.
Any day of the week.
Right.
So you're not missing out on anything because when you want it, it's there. Yeah.
Last 2 questions. It's for the tourist here. What's the go-to Miami hotel? People are coming down. You're like, you need to stay at this hotel.
I would say, obviously, it has to be a beachfront. The Lowe's in South Beach is a great spot.
Yeah, that's a great spot. Great. That's kid-friendly, too.
it's super kid friendly, but it's nice. It's well located, not too into South Beach, but you are in South Beach. But yeah,
Okay.
or the Betsy Hotel. Betsy Hotel is so great.
I like that one too.
Yeah.
The go-to restaurant, hard to get into, but it's the best around.
Mandolin. It's a Greek restaurant in the Design District. So good.
Mandolin.
Yeah, write that down, guys.
We're always taking notes here.
Thank you guys for having me. This has been absolutely amazing, and it's an honor to be able to be with you guys. Max, I've heard of you, and of course I know Brent, and it's an honor to be here with you guys and for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jonathan, and I'm sure I'll see you soon. We'll be there quite a bit this summer.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to DC this weekend, so I want to see if you guys want to grab that.
So you're coming to you're in DC this weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, right on. Okay.
Send us a text.
Text us.
For sure.
All right, Jonathan Garcia, thank you so much for coming on the show, man.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Keyed In with your hosts, Max and Brent, unlocking the minds of the industry's top real estate professionals. For more information on selling your home, find us online at keyedinpodcast.com. Remember to subscribe to Keyed In on Apple Podcasts or wherever you like to listen to podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at Keyed In Podcast, at Rabin Max, and at Brent E. Jackson. And follow Max on TikTok at MaxwellRabin_properties.